phrase Battered Aggie Syndrome encapsulates the feeling of many Texas A&M fans at this very moment. You go into a season with high hopes. Marcel Reed entering his redshirt sophomore year, led by coach Mike Elko. You start ranked 19th in the nation, and the next thing you know, it's rivalry week against Texas, and you're sitting at 11-0. A month later, it's the first round of the college football playoff, a home game at Kyle Field. And by the end of the game, Texas A&M had produced one made field goal, and that came in the third quarter, after having the first attempt blocked in the first half. Miami opened the scoring with a field goal of their own. They missed 3 other kicks on the day, and still managed to score the only touchdown late via Malachi Toney. The game finishes 10-3, and Texas A&M becomes the first team in college football playoff history to lose a home playoff game without scoring a touchdown. On Saturday, the Texas A&M Aggies set records in unimaginable ways. The first team in playoff history to lose a home playoff game without scoring a touchdown. The second team to ever lose a home playoff game at all. A high-profile offense that converted 21 first downs, yet scored only 3 points. Quarterback Marcel Reed was sacked 7 times. He threw 2 interceptions, and the Aggies were 1 for 3 in the red zone. The only conversion was a field goal. The third and final red zone trip ended the game. An interception straight into the hands of the Hurricanes defender. This game was so ugly that Mike Elko even used 2 kickers. And when you fail to show up at home, your season comes and goes in the blink of an eye. And the Aggies demonstrated that perfectly. For a long time, I've quietly thought that this didn't come out of nowhere. I picked Miami to win, and the cracks have been turning into canyons if you watched A&M closely since late October. Let's explain why. This team started 11-0, undefeated, ranked 4th in the nation, and somehow before Christmas, they ended the season with a loss to their big brother, the Texas Longhorns, and followed that performance up with an even worse performance at home in the college football playoff. No rivalry win, no conference title, no playoff win. Just the most spiritual 8-4 season you will ever see, wrapped in an 11-2 record that feels so hollow. And to be clear, I'm not saying 11-2 is bad by any means, but 4 weeks ago the world was at your feet for the first time in a while, and the Aggies let it slip. Battered Aggie Syndrome came into full effect. Great recruiting, state-of-the-art facilities, and of course, peak SEC resources. But by the end of 2025, all that remained was pride found only in the win column. The bar was as high as it could possibly be, and it converted into absolutely nothing. And if you didn't put on your hating lenses already, you might as well do so now. Because if you've watched this team closely, or did your research, you'd have known they were overachieving for a long time. And let's rewind to November 15th. South Carolina leads 31-0 at halftime. It was the worst half of football Marcel Reed has ever played. Credit to A&M for fighting back and winning 31-30, but any casual fan should have been alarmed by that score. And like I said earlier, I'm hating. Just let me hate. 2 weeks later, the Aggies walk up to the stoop of their big brother. If you win, you go to Atlanta. If you lose, you have to pray Bama and Georgia stumble. And neither of those things happened. Texas played A&M off the field, winning 27-17 in Austin. Those 2 performances turned cracks into canyons. And if you looked at A&M's schedule, they played bottom feeder SEC competition most of the year. Their opponents finished with a combined 67-77 record. Their SEC opponents combined with a conference record of 18-48. Texas A&M won by a field goal, 45-42 against Arkansas. South Carolina was only a 1-point win. They beat Mississippi State, and they had a 6-point win against Auburn. Texas was the only SEC team they played that finished with a winning conference record. And yes, Notre Dame, as we all know, is not in a conference. They beat 2 teams with 8 or more wins all season, and it was just Missouri and Notre Dame. And while wins are wins, the bigger picture was sitting right in front of us. The A&M magnum opus was losing at home to the Miami Hurricanes and laying a 3-point egg at noon Eastern on ESPN. Historically, they now join some brutal company. Teams who scored under 6 points in a playoff game. 2015 Michigan State, who lost 38-0 to Alabama in the Cotton Bowl. 2016 Ohio State losing 31-0 to Clemson. 2018 Notre Dame losing 30-3 to Clemson. And finally, 2025 Texas A&M. The difference? The first 3 games were not at home. For the Aggies and their fans, this one obviously stings. You played the worst game you've played in over a year, and you did it at home, at Kyle Field. And when I say this might be the worst 11-2 season ever, I'm not talking about the talent, I'm talking about expectations and how it all ended. An 11-0 start is supposed to solidify you on the national stage. It's supposed to bring you credibility and momentum. Instead, it became the most depressing 11-2 record an 11-2 record could ever be. The 2 words that describe this team in August also describe them now in December. Talented, yet unproven. 3 points at Kyle Field in December. As bad as an ending as you could possibly imagine. People will remember this team for what it was, not what the win column says. Thank you all so much for watching. Happy holidays, and I'll see you in the next one.